everyone. Thank you for joining me. I'm so excited you're participating live and we'll be able to answer questions. Um, we'll interact. I'm going to save the questions towards the end to make sure we get through all of the content, which is the 8 tips, Feng Shui tips for the bedroom. Please share this information with your family and friends and help them too to enjoy a better night's sleep, make your bedroom couple friendly, and have a better Valentine's Day, which is why we're doing this. So again, feel free to ask questions and anyway, have fun. So tip 1, support your body and mind. To start with, we want to talk about good sleeping directions. And so we have a free calculator on the website that when you put in your month, day, and year, and gender, because males are calculated differently than females, it will give you your Minghua or your birth number. And that's an important distinction. You don't need your time of birth, at least for today. And it's going to be really helpful because when you go out, and let me post the link for this. When you go out to this free calculator, it will automatically not only figure it out for you, but then you can scroll down lower on the page and there's a chart. So based on your Minghua or birth number, there are 4 directions, which are the first 4 in that chart that support you. And then there are 4 directions that don't support you. And so as an example, I'm a number 3, I'm a hardwood. And so my best sleeping direction is east. What that means is when I'm laying in bed, just imagine an arrow coming out of the top of your head where your headboard is. If that's east, then I'm probably going to get the best night's sleep. Your 4 good directions are in priority order. And I listed on there, like the first one is your Shen Qi, your most active. It's a great way to sit when you're working. And then it goes down to best restful position. And so look at that chart, and that'll help you a lot with sleeping. There have been studies on this. Infants, when they're born, they have an internal compass, believe it or not. We learn to crawl, walk, then run based on gravitational pull and the Earth's force. So we have in our bodies a way that tries to find what our good directions are. And oftentimes when infants are then put into a crib and they have the freedom to move around a little bit, they'll naturally migrate to one of their good directions. And so this is really helpful information for a good night's sleep. Tip number 2, does your art say romance? All art in your home you should love. And even if something's been gifted to you, has sentimental value, if it's not something that when you look at, it brings you joy and pleasure and you feel good about it, then it shouldn't be in your space. And this is particularly true in the bedroom. So in the bedroom, it's ideal to have symbols of 2. That could be a photograph of you and a loved one. That could be a photograph of you and a separate photograph, portrait or picture of a loved one, but try to have them looking toward each other, not with their backs toward each other, because the backs toward each other imply you're going in different directions. When you're looking toward each other, then you're in sync, okay? Also, other objects. So it could be statues, it could be vases, any type of accessory. Try to think of 2 of each of those in the bedroom because it represents having a relationship. So basically it's representing symmetry and bringing 2 together versus just 1. On the flip side, it's normally discouraged having pictures of your children in your bedroom. Yes, you love them, and family is very important, but you don't necessarily want them to watch you during cuddle time. I'll put it that way. So that's tip number 2. Tip number 3, furniture. Does your furniture represent isolation or relationships? And I find this a lot when I go into folks' homes. So here's the bed, and on one side of the bed, there's a nightstand, and there's a lamp, and there's all the books and so forth, and then there's almost nothing on the other side of the bed. Well, that represents imbalance and a play of power. And so if you want mutual respect, mutual relationship, mutual cuddling, you want to have symmetry. And I mentioned symmetry in regards to the artwork as well. So when there's the bed, it should have 2 nightstands, 2 lamps, ideally 2 chairs in the room, 2 dressers in the room. Again, it represents respect and equality. So you get the idea. The idea is that one person isn't control of the relationship, because then it's really not a relationship. I hope that makes sense. Tip number 4, S&S, safe and secure. So for those of you who know me, I have an extensive background in risk management, which is how I approach Feng Shui. And when people ask me what is the definition of Feng Shui, there's the literal translation, which Feng Shui means wind and water. That's what shapes our earth and what shapes our environment. But when people ask, I say, does your environment make you feel safe and secure? Do you feel supported? If you have the means, or those feelings are invoked, that you feel safe, secure, and supported, then there's some Feng Shui working there. If you don't, then there's definitely room for opportunity. Now, in the bedroom, you definitely want to feel safe and secure. One of the ways to do this is when you're laying in bed, you want to be able to see the door so that you can see who's approaching your space, right? And so another way to add safety, security, and being supported is when you're laying in bed, ideally you don't want your feet facing directly out the door. Now, I realize this isn't always possible, so if that's the case for you, close the door when you're in the bedroom, right? It's a simple solution. I learned firsthand the meaning of this. My dad was in hospice and passed away in his home. And when they came to take him to the funeral parlor, they took him out feet first. And that's when I had an aha moment, because they don't really explain in the books. They'll say it's the death position, but what does that mean? When they take someone out feet first, it normally means they've passed. If they take them out head first, they're protecting the head, it normally means that they're living. So that's why in many of the Feng Shui books, you'll hear about the death position. It means that when you're laying in bed, your feet are facing the door. Well, like I said, change the position of the bed or close the door. Tip number 5, time to chill. This is not a popular concept, but it's one that's worth mentioning. So EMF, electromagnetic frequencies. Wherever there's electricity, you're going to have EMF, but it's measured in megahertz, so it can be very strong. And our obsession, sometimes addictions of electronics these days, means we have a lot of EMF in the bedroom, and that's actually not healthy. The more frequency, the higher the frequency is, the more it's affecting our body's rhythm. And of course, the purpose of the bedroom is to chill and rest. And so this is scientifically proven. And even in France, they've passed a law that says you can't have a lot of EMF, which is measured with gauges. It's one of the things that I do when I work with a client, um, especially in spaces in France of children 12 and under, because it's so destructive. So it agitates our body, therefore it agitates our sleep. And when our bodies are at rest, our cells regenerate. And so nighttime and a good night's rest is very, very important. So what can you do? Well, one of the things is minimize electronics in the bedroom. I don't have a TV in my bedroom. I don't have a clock radio in my bedroom either. And I turn my cell phone off at night. If that's not, no, I have an internal clock that I always wake up at the same time anyway. But if you have a digital clocks have a display that's normally red, blue, green, or white. Well, when you take a look at the frequencies the colors emit, red has the strongest frequency. And so having a red digital clock next to the bed is going to disrupt your sleep. Ideally, any digital clocks or any digital devices would be at least 3 feet away from your body when you're in bed. But at a minimum, if you have a red digital display, maybe move it farther away from the bed, or better yet, swap it out. I worked with a client that she had 2 Rottweilers, and they had aggressive tendencies, and they also slept under the table in her bedroom, which there was one table at the time, one nightstand. But they slept underneath this red digital display and were very agitated. So she moved it out to start with, but eventually just replaced it with something with had a softer emission. Again, the blue, green, or white emission or display. And their personalities actually changed and they became less aggressive. So again, anything that I'm recommending to you, I have personal experience with. Also keep in mind, baby monitors. Hopefully baby monitors, you know the amount of EMF, electromagnetic frequency it's putting out, but believe it or not, having a baby monitor on or near the crib is not very wise. So keep that in mind. Tip number 6, yin and yang. So yin is feminine energy and it represents curves. Yang is male active energy and represents activity and strength and force. Well, due to constructions of our houses, pretty much everything is at a 90-degree angle. And when you have this wall and this wall converging and you've got that corner, it focuses and strengthens the energy coming off of there. So sit on your bed and look for any corners that are coming toward your bed. It can be from dressers, furniture, walls, as I mentioned, even doors. So take a look at that and find a way to deflect those corners coming at your bed. I have a good example. I worked with a young lady that was having a lot of menstrual issues, and they were actually thinking of doing surgery on her. But when we sat on the bed and we looked, there were a lot of angles coming out the bed from dressers and a corner of a wall. So what we did was we camouflaged or hid those. In the wall, in case of the wall coming toward her bed, we put an artificial tree there. In the case of a dresser, we actually used something to drape over it and soften it. She liked antiques, so we used doilies kind of thing. But do yourself a favor and sit on your bed and look for any type of straight lines or angles that come at it. Another case, I worked with a person with multiple sclerosis, and I could tell by the furniture arrangement in the bed that the strongest issue for him was the bottom of his legs. And in fact, there were several corners coming across, again, focusing that yawn or that active energy coming across the bed. And when we changed the configuration of the room, he noticed almost immediately, a little bit more strength in his legs. So do yourself a favor. It's called a poison arrow in a lot of the Feng Shui books. Poison because it's sending very strong energy, too strong of an energy, and an arrow because those two corners come together and shoot out. So again, try to mitigate that. I mentioned yawn, which is curves. Curves are fabulous in our living environment and help to offset, your yin and your yang. You hear about you need that balance of both. And so having curved furniture, having curved objects in our bedroom, we have several statues of people's bodies, and so there's a lot of curvature there, not only in the base but in the shape and even in the artwork. A lot of curves to help offset the yang energy that are inherent to buildings being with a lot of 90-degree angles. Tip number 7, getting your groove on. We have, and let me post this out here for you. We have a free ebook if you haven't already signed up for it. And it has a lot of this information in it, not specific to bedrooms, but specific to relationships, who supports you and so forth. So let me copy this and put this out here. I mentioned about getting your groove on because it not only talks about your sleeping directions. Again, we've got the chart on the website, but it's nice to have it in a little book that you keep on your phone. It's in a PDF format and take with you for hotels or wherever you're going to go. But it also talks about when you're in balance, your personality trait, or for your partner, when they're in balance, the positive aspects to look for. And when we're out of balance, the negative traits, which can be red flags. A lot of times we can't see that for ourselves, but those around us can observe it and say, hey, are you taking good care of yourself? And in this ebook, it gives you ideas on how to take care of yourself. One of the recommendations is in regards to color. So I mentioned I'm a 3 hardwood person. Well, colors that support me are blue, black, and green. Thus, I wear a lot of black. And so these colors are instrumental in the bedroom for sheets, pillowcases, pajamas, good for the colors of your automobiles. But don't take these colors and all of a sudden start painting your bedroom, because your bedroom's energy is determined by the energy of the house. And so you have to figure out what that energy is and treat that energy. But for the sheets and pillowcases and personal accessories, jewelry, we talk about colors, we talk about shapes. Curves support me, so there's curves in my earrings and so forth. But this is a way that you can help yourself as well as your partner and family and friends. So the book will be really helpful. Tip number 8 is go with the flow. So I did a video late last year on the energy of 2018. If you haven't seen it, I recommend it. Because it talks about, I gave 3 tips, central and west and north, because those are the more challenging energies for 2018. So any bedroom that is in the center of the house or the west of the house or the north of the house. Uh, I give recommendations on what you can do to help mitigate some of that negativity that could be coming in, which, oftentimes affects our health and sleep and so forth. So let me go ahead and post link to the video out there. Now, if you're not on Facebook and don't have access to the links that I'm posting, you can go to intuitiveconcepts.com, and at the bottom of the home page is the link to sign up for the ebook. For the video, it's already out on YouTube. And for the calculator, you can go out to the education tab on intuitiveconcepts.com, and it's your personal calculator. So those are some ways that you can do that. Alrighty, so before we run out of time here, let me jump over and look at any questions that we have. Okay. Hi, Tamara, I haven't seen you in a while. Elizabeth, welcome. Rhonda, Teresa. Well, I don't really see any questions. So that must mean I explained it okay. On the new website, we have several case studies, commercial projects as well as residential. We're going to be posting more here very soon, but it gives you before and after pictures, what the client wanted, what their goals were for doing the Feng Shui, and some of the things that we did. So might give you some ideas. Also, if you're interested, let me go ahead and post that link out here. And for those not on Facebook, just go out to the website, intuitiveconcepts.com, and look for the case studies tab, and case studies will be there. And we're offering a free 15-minute phone conversation if you have any questions about Feng Shui, how it works, how it might apply to you. And so let me post that link out here. And if you're not on Facebook and don't see the link, then just go to intuitiveconcepts.com and go to the contact section. Now, if you're interested in furthering your relationships, we have a special for today for a relationship strategy session. And I would need your birth information, and you get the best of both worlds. We'd be looking at not only your Feng Shui energy, but also your Chinese astrology energy, and looking at who supports you. Who will support you in your dreams and visions and positive relationships. And on the flip side, we'll also discuss who challenges you. Now, a lot of people think, well, my opposite is this energy or this Chinese astrology, and so I need to avoid them. And I don't agree. I worked one of the command centers for the New York terrorist attack, and in my staff, and I manage staff in 5 different cities, I really looked for people who were my opposite, not only from a Feng Shui perspective, but also a Chinese astrology perspective, because they were going to see, hear, and experience things differently than I did. So they give us a lot of really good reality checks, and sometimes that's good, and sometimes it's aggravating. But editing, if you're looking for somebody who, is really going to critique your work, go to somebody who's your opposite kind of thing. Whereas the people who compliment you, you're your buddy group. You're going to get along. You're going to find ways to make each other feel good. But opposite doesn't mean avoid. So with these strategy sessions, we have January 12th reserved for 4 relationship strategy sessions. And this information is timeless. It's based on your birth date. And so, these are, I'm a big believer in manifestation and intention. So when you put out the intention of attracting these people, guess what? They show up. So this is information that will help you now and for the rest of your life, or for family and friends, be a great Valentine's gift, or again, it's timeless, just good information for people to have when they're looking for a really good relationship. So let me post the link for that. And if you're not on Facebook, when this goes on YouTube, just write me at Feng Shui at intuitiveconcepts.com, or again, go out to the website and go to the contacts page and send us an email if you'd like to know. So if you like this video, we'll do more. Did one before, this is my second one, so if you're interested, need to know that, and effort in needs to be effort out. So it's like anything, information means nothing if it's not put into action. So please let me know how you use this information and how it benefits you. So make this an awesome year, and share, share, share. Good sleeping directions, ways to set up the bedroom. Who can't benefit from that? So let me just jump back one more time and see if we have any questions over here before we close out. I don't see any questions, but the video will be available probably within the next 10 minutes. So if you missed any portion of it, I see people are still joining here. You can watch it from the beginning on Facebook, and then we'll have it up on YouTube within the week. Heard from a lot of folks last time that were like, I'm not on Facebook, put it out on YouTube. So we listen, and we hear, and we act. So thank you for joining me. God bless.